country stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you grow up there?
Yeah, I
Is
grew
that
up
where
in
your dad's
Princeton. Yeah.
churches?
Yeah. My dad's we're just doing it in Cambridge now, but he's been down in St. Paul
Okay.
doing it, the homeless.
Oh, yeah.
What's up, Jason?
Hey, how's it going?
Thanks for coming, man.
You're welcome. Happy to be here.
How's the shoulder feeling?
It's healing, painful, but getting through it.
For those of you listening, Jason's got his arm in a big sling, and you said you had both shoulders worked on recently?
Yep, both of them, and one of them retore, so got it redone again. So yeah, going through it. Hopefully the last time.
And you're a big guy? Are you like an athlete, or what? What did you do to put yourself in this situation?
I did professional bodybuilding for years. And
Okay.
yeah, they said I was born with collarbones kind of long, so they had to shave them down too. So anytime I'd lift overhead, it would cut into my rotator cuff.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's a crazy world, huh? I listened to a podcast recently about who's the most recent Mr. Olympia.
Oh boy, I haven't been keeping up the last couple of years.
Okay.
So, yeah, a couple of them, but
Well, it's the eating that sounds so crazy about that world, right?
yeah, yep, it's 80% diet.
That's the part I can't do. I'm good at going to the gym all the time, but I just, anyways.
Yep.
Difficult.
Sweet. So this came about because I saw Jason post something on Facebook about a church that he'd recently acquired and got running, and you were looking for more churches, I believe, if I remember correctly. Jason, we'd love to hear your story, but can you start with churches? Why do you acquire churches in the Twin Cities, and how does that work?
My dad's a pastor. His ministry's Kingdom Construct, and kind of focusing on, the homeless and planting seed churches, and I guess just helping people any way possible.
What's a seed church?
I started new churches
Okay.
where there's not a church, and kind of not like your normal church where it's just a little bit different, I guess, and helping people get jobs and homes. We do help people do a lot of first-time home buyer programs and help people do rent-to-owns and help them get jobs.
So if someone asks you, what do you do, Jason? What do you tell them?
I guess I say I'm a business coach and real estate investor. So I do a lot in real estate, buy and sell, and have for 20 some years. Used to develop a lot of land, build custom homes, buy and sell real estate, and a little bit of everything.
And taking it back to the church, is that a profitable endeavor for you?
Definitely not profitable. Definitely spend most of our money there to help people and like organizations like Teen Challenge and
Cool.
churches. So,
Interesting. So the church is a way to give back, and you make money through your other ventures and then give back through the churches. Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
Yeah, yep, exactly. Yep. Me and my
Awesome.
dad both do.
So with this particular deal that Tim saw, is this a church your dad's going to be starting, or what's the plan?
Yeah, yep, definitely gonna be a church. My dad's starting in Cambridge.
Cool.
Hoping to have it going in the next couple weeks.
Okay.
If you're a Cambridge listener looking for a new church home, where do we find you?
Yep, it's kingdomconstruct.org.
Okay. Well, let's go back to the beginning, if that's okay.
Yeah,
you were talking a little bit about growing up with dirt bikes and that kind of lifestyle.
Yeah.
I got a Husky 701 in the garage. Anyways, not to brag. What how did you get to be the man you are today?
I guess I grew up riding dirt bike. My last bike was a YZ450. Did a lot of ice racing. It blew up this last winter ice racing, but I also drag race, 1/8 mile, 1/4 mile. I got a Mustang that's about 4,000 horse, twin turbo methanol car, and do that still. Ride dirt bikes, snowmobile. Grew up in Princeton area, Cambridge. So
Okay.
did construction with my dad and family growing up. Started my own company when I was 18 and kind of did construction. Started doing real estate and developing land and building custom homes, and turned into doing commercial work, and now just kind of done a little bit of everything. Then I try to help other people that want to learn. A lot of people don't think it's possible or can't apply themselves, but the ones that do want to learn, I try to help everyone I can.
So going back 20 years ago, when you bought your first real estate deal,
Yep.
What did that look like? You were, and what as an entrepreneur, what were you doing back then?
Yeah, I was like 20 years old. I didn't have credit, didn't have money, had a business, but just doing things probably the wrong way. And found a deal that was lease with option to buy. And I'd already read a bunch of real estate programs, so I knew that that was a good way to buy. So I probably did 3-4 different programs when I was younger, trying to learn. And did that one, finished the basement to build equity, and financed my first place when I was, I think, 22. And just kind of kept going from there.
So that was a single family home,
Yep.
and you held it as a rental.
Yep, I lived there first, and then as a rental.
Okay. And what does deal number 2 look like? We're not going to make you do this for every deal, but
Nope,
I want to tell a story.
How it
Yeah. And then my sister ended up selling her house, and it was just a block away. And I'm like, well, how much you want for it? And then I bought that one and turned that into my office.
Okay.
And then just kind of kept going from there. Once I got office space in town, I rented that one out and sold on a lease with option to buy, and just kind of kept going. Then did some deals in Minneapolis, where I could get lots. I could split off a lot and took a lot, build another property, and
Okay.
kind of started that way with building and finding properties I could split a lot off it or split land off.
Roughly, how many homes do you think you've built over the years?
Oh, I don't, probably 50 or 100 custom homes mostly. They're nice, and did a lot of cheaper homes too, but tried to focus on nicer homes like Maple Grove, Corcoran area.
I think I know the answer to this, but I want to hear it from you. Why would you focus on nicer homes?
I guess that's where the money is at, and then you can take your time to make something you're proud of and nice.
Yeah, it's just almost impossible to even sell a house at a profit if it at the lower end, right?
Yeah, there's really no money in it, and
Yeah.
everyone's so picky and wants everything, but they don't want to pay for nothing.
Going back to the lot splitting method, was it St. Paul St. Paul recently changed some zoning rules? Are you familiar with this at all?
Yeah, I haven't been keeping up. No.
Well, within the past few years, you can now build up to a 4-family dwelling pretty much anywhere in St. Paul. Not pretty much, in any residential lot in St. Paul, where previously it would have to be zoned as such. Now you tell me if I'm wrong, because you have so much more experience with this. That has an effect on the values of lots, whether it's a double lot that could be split or a vacant lot in like C-class areas, because previously, let's just say 3 years ago, a vacant lot in a C-class area, it doesn't have a whole lot of value because who's going to build a single family in that area? It's probably just going to sit. But now that someone can build a 4-plex there, it's got some more value, and there's certainly all sorts of people sitting on a property that has a big lot that may not know the value thereon. Any comments? Am I correct? Because I'm just making assumptions
Yeah.
here.
No, I'm ready to go look at some St. Paul properties now.
Let's do it, man.
Yeah. Got me thinking now. Yeah, it's definitely a good deal.
What did you get out of that?
I guess once I got 4 kids and my 2 younger kids, I kind of slowed down a little bit just to try to be more of a dad and work less, and just kind of decided to work the minimum I had to.
I completely understand. I've done that over the last couple of years myself.
Yeah, so the last 10 years I've tried to just work just enough to live and be a good dad and raise my kids, and now they're teenagers and they just want to do their own thing with their friends, so now I'm kind of back to grinding. So
I hear you. What ages? Excuse me. What ages are your kids?
they're 13 and 15.
Okay.
So, yeah. Dad's not cool anymore, so they don't want to really spend time with me, so
Yeah.
working and trying to teach them how to make money too, so.
Yeah, are they showing an interest in the family business?
Well, most days, no. They've had it too easy, I guess. But, yeah.
Dad got too successful too
Yeah.
early.
And mom always pressured me, oh, let them be kids. And I'm like, no, we're building men. We gotta get them to work. But yeah,
You do a little bit of that, don't you, Tim? Do your kids have responsibility?
I mean, my kids have chores, yeah, and
But related to your investments at all?
not too much in related to our investments. Not too much. My
Okay.
son did do a blacktop, like sealing a blacktop for us this year, and we paid him very well to do it. So I kind of wanted to show him, like, hey, look, you can make money doing this, and if you can learn how to do it, you can go sell it to other people. And he really appreciated the money, but I didn't. And I saw him wanting to do it, but the sales side of it, I'm not sure he's into that yet. Yeah, he still kind of has this attitude he wants to work for someone else.
Sure.
So we'll see.
Build some confidence.
Yeah, mine were excited to do a drop shipping business, so I helped them do it, set it all up. We did it for a small amount of time, and they lost interest. So then they did some investing in crypto, and we got lucky, and they made some money in that. So done a little bit with them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so anyways, going back to your story, now we're in the early 2000s, and you've got a handful of deals under your belt. After you bought that first house and your sister's house, you were then focusing on homes that had big lots. Was that pretty much the
Be able to
focus?
split them up. Yep.
Elaborate a little bit on the lease option, because that was something that helped you invest right away. And then you said, did you sell one of those initial deals on a lease option?
Yep. Then I
as
started
well?
doing a lot of them, selling them lease with option to buy, so that way it could help people get properties that couldn't easily get them, and that worked out pretty well.
We had another guy on the podcast, Matt Bergstrom, who has been dabbling in that world through a service.
Sure.
He's just the investor.
Yep.
Do you have for anyone listening who thinks they might be interested in that, any words of wisdom or resources? I'm sure there's all sorts of traps you can fall into on both sides.
Yeah,
right?
I hear so many people getting ripped off. People taking their money and they don't even have control of the property or own the property or manage it. And
Oh my gosh.
all kinds of stories.
Like Craigslist scams.
Yeah, lots of marketplace and Craigslist.
What about from an investor's perspective? I want to go out and do some lease option deals. Where does a guy start?
I guess it'd start with us, our truster companies. We got a big network of people
Okay.
that both buyers, investors, realtors, everyone work together as a team, help each other.
So you're currently doing this on a larger scale,
Yes,
professionally.
Yes, yeah.
Very cool. What was the name of that company?
Truster companies?
Truster Companies.
Yeah.
What's your last name?
Yep, last name, yep, Truster Company.
Can you spell that for the group? Just so
Trester, and it's truster.us is our website.
Got it.
Very cool. So you've probably helped hundreds of people pull
Yeah.
this off over the
Yeah,
years.
yep, we do it all the time.
How many? I mean, it's a low volume time, but like, how many do you think you're doing in a year right now?
Right now, we're doing probably 3-4 a month.
Okay.
Right now, even in this bad market.
I think that's quite a bit actually.
Yeah,
in this
and it's
market.
definitely a lot of work, but we've got to look at hundreds of them to find a deal.
And for those of you who don't know, I actually have done 4 of them myself.
Yep.
For those of you who don't know, it's hard to put together because the way this has to work is someone's the underlying investor that's buying the property, right? So, for example, Adam might buy a property for me. I'm the end buyer. Adam's got to be able to buy it and get qualified for a loan and make money. The only way to legally do that is he has to make enough that the bank says it's okay for the investment. They want a spread, and his spread has to be there. So if he's buying at fairly high rate as an investor, I have to pay even more as the end buyer. These deals get expensive.
Yes.
And they have to be expensive to even be able to do them legally. And so, he might be getting a rate somewhere near 7% or higher, probably higher. And then, so that means I probably need to be about 2% above him. Maybe if the deal's big enough, maybe 1.5%. But just to get the DSCR to work, it's probably very close to 2% more than whatever his rate is.
Yes, correct.
Is that kind of what you see
Yep.
as the numbers?
Yep.
I saw 1.5% if we could keep the amortizations equal, and there was a markup in the purchase price. You could get down to that, but no matter what we cut it, that's got to be there, or the deal doesn't happen.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, we just try to find deals. We have a lot of people that we pay finder fees, like a lot of deals we do up to $5,000 for finder fee. So we have people bringing them to us all the time. So when we find them, we try to get them, whether they got enough money that we can pass them off to a builder or investor too. We do a lot of different types of deals.
Interesting. So you're focusing more on finding a deal with the real estate itself.
Yes.
Because with the common business model would be you're running ads, telling people they could rent to own their home. You find the end buyer first, and then you pair them with an investor.
Yes.
And you're kind of just being the matchmaker.
Yep, the matchmaker.
Making some sort of fee.
Yep. Yep.
But if you're finding good deals on real estate, if you're actually putting the time, because I'm assuming a lot of people are you got to do a decent amount of MLS as well, don't you?
Yes, yep. And then we do a lot of deals that we pay cash ourselves and do them and do the
Okay.
work ourselves. But it's like we can't handle all of them, so we just kind of pick and choose. We got some guys are real hungry where they're happy making a small profit margin, so we'll let them take those, and just kind of keep everyone happy, so everyone kind of works as a team. Help
Very
each
cool.
other.
And so when did you start this official business, doing this not just as an individual?
I've always kind of done it on a smaller scale, but just in the last year, just tried to really get it as big as possible, just so we can reach the most people and get, make deals work the best, kind of pick out the best deals.
So do you structure most of them as rent to own or contract for deed?
Rent to own. I always do rent to own or lease with option to buy, because the contract for deed's hard to get your place back when they don't pay the payment. So lease with option is always the best, so they don't pay, can get your place back.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
can you elaborate on that, like Minnesota laws
Like
wise?
law wise, contract for deed is similar to foreclosure process, so it's harder to kick someone out of a property, where when it's a lease with option to buy,
It's an eviction.
yeah, it's an eviction like a rental, so you're not going a long time without your property and with no money coming in.
And this is these deals range so much, so I'm kind of generalizing here, but what I've seen in the past is contract for deeds, people are willing to put more up front in terms of cover more of the down payment. People meaning the end buyer, if you will, the person who's going to be leasing to own and or purchasing to own puts more up. Do you find that on the lease to owns, they're putting less of a down payment, if you will?
Yes, but
Or
most,
option fee or whatever you want
yeah,
to
a
call
lot of them we do is, because I'm in the construction field, most of them are construction people.
it.
So they kind of do some kind of equity themselves to be able to refinance it within a year or in a short time.
Oh, interesting.
So I kind of get my money back quicker that way.
Oh, interesting.
That's how
Yeah.
I do a lot of it.
Okay.
Very cool.
That is an interesting field, the construction field. I knew you did construction, of course, just from a little bit of research about you, but tell me about the construction projects you guys tend to do. And or are you doing residential or commercial? Or
I guess we do everything from small commercial build outs. We do everything, like we've done a lot of the Starbucks, Caribou remodels, McDonald's, and residential, multifamily, triplex, duplex, multifamily, a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Do you ever get into that commercial investing space?
We're doing a little bit, not a lot of it, but we're trying to do more and more of it. Looking to do bigger multi-family on a really big scale soon. We've been looking all over the country right now.
Okay.
What sort of deal would it attract you? If someone listening's got a deal in their lap, what
We guess deals that need work. We've been looking at some down in Texas. Some of my partners wanted me to take them, but I don't want to be flying back and forth to Texas working on big apartment buildings. But
okay,
yeah,
so
just
larger
kinda-
multifamily.
Yeah, large multifamily all over. So
I've been there. I don't recommend it.
yeah, I don't
I've
want
done
to.
that myself.
Yeah.
That flying back and forth, and if you don't have the network and the property managers in the area already, I would advise against it unless it's so big that you can build the infrastructure out with one asset, right?
Yep, I agree with
You
that. Yep.
At least at the bare minimum, an asset that's big enough for you to have an on-site manager and a full-time maintenance person.
Yep.
If you don't already have the staff, and even then, think about it just from a logistical point of view. If you have a property where you have one manager on site and one maintenance person, what happens when you lose either one of them? Your whole operation is in shambles until you replace it. And if you can't find a good person, I've been in this situation a couple times, both in Louisville, Kentucky, and in Chattanooga, and it's tricky. You need some scale.
Yep,
You know,
definitely agree.
to be able to pay for those people and be able to hire more than one. You've got 2 assets, 2 property managers, 2 whatever. At least they can kind of cover for when if someone's sick or has to leave or gets hired away.
Yeah.
When we first started this podcast, we were recording these Zoom calls, and Tim was like in a unit in Louisville. Was it?
That was
He'd be like
that was
sitting on a
Chattanooga.
5-gallon bucket in Louisville, where he hasn't seen his family in 10 days, and
Yeah.
it's the life of an out-of-state real estate investor that people don't brag about on social media. You know what I mean?
Yep, I don't want nothing to do with that, but I have a lot of people that do, that I'm coaching and helping and just trying to weigh out the pros and cons for them. And, yeah.
So I want to keep kind of telling this story as we're going through your life, right?
Yep.
What was the next pivotal thing? You start buying lands and you're a custom home builder and you start to, I think, like, I'm a real estate investor, I know what I'm doing. Were there any like pivotal points through those early 2000s? Obviously you went through a major pricing correction, 2008.
Yeah.
Anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, '08 was pretty tough where, I had a lot of rentals and lease with options to buy, and of '08 everyone lost their jobs. So it was a struggle with that, trying to navigate through that. And so that was definitely tough. Got rid of some properties and kind of did less smaller scale since then, and took time to try to be a good dad and didn't do as many deals, just did a couple here and there. But now doing more, I guess. But yeah, '08 was tough for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What sort of, what would you say is a lesson or a takeaway? I went through '08 myself, and I owned a mortgage company during the crash. And what's one of your takeaways?
Oh, definitely didn't want to. I had myself spread too thin. There's too many properties. My accountant, tax planner, business coach is saying, you need to be selling, sell. He told me that before I was selling, so I wish I would have listened a little sooner. And I was still buying developments, doing developments. I'm like, there's deals all over out here. And just then trying to sell stuff and trying to get renters to pay, or the people at least with options was definitely a challenge. So it was too much stress that I said I would never have a rental again, never deal with rentals again. And
Yeah.
so I still really don't like to do them, but yeah, I would rather sell it or rather pass it on. Ever since then, definitely very conservative compared to before.
What you had, yeah.
Yeah, let's talk more about that. So when your business manager, attorney, or whoever was telling you sell,
Yeah.
was that pre or post crash?
Oh, way pre. Like he told me a year before. So now I just think, I'm like, now I try to do the same for other people. I'm like, you gotta listen if someone's telling you. So yeah, now I realize to really listen when people say things. So
If you keep your ear to the ground, you can kind of, it's like, when the train's coming, you can feel the tracks murmur or something.
Yep.
You can feel rumblings when they're happening if you're paying attention.
Yep.
And that was definitely happening in the end of 2006 going into 2007. There was a shift that already started to happen. By 2007, it was pretty obvious to anyone in mortgage that things had changed pretty dramatically, but the crash didn't get attributed until '08. But I can tell you the second half of 2007 was like a ghost town in mortgage, and that we are an early indicator, as Adam mentioned on a different podcast we did. So if you pay attention, you can see some early indicators.
yeah.
I think that I saw people. I had a friend flipping 10 houses this summer, and he started having, the first few sold really quick, and then the second half of the summer, his inventory started backing up. And I told him, I said, stop buying, and he did. But I think if he would have kept buying, I don't think he would have lost money necessarily, but I think he'd had quite a few skinny deals because he would have ended up buying at prices he thought he could sell higher than he actually could.
Yeah.
Well, that's why the turnaround time is so important for those deals, because like you want to plan on selling in whatever market you're buying it in.
Yeah.
So it's not this question mark of the deal goes on for 6 months. Well, you don't know.
Yeah.
Gotta be quick.
So it sounds like you do a little bit of flipping too, or is it?
Yeah. We're doing a lot of foreclosures right now, like people that are just getting in foreclosure, trying to help them get out of their house and help them find new housing, or that's what we've been doing a lot of, and a lot of deaths. It seems like a lot of people are dying with properties that
Probate, yeah.
So we've been dealing with a lot of deaths lately, properties that way.
How do you guys acquire them? Like, what do you do?
Mostly referrals, people that know us, know me.
Okay.
Yep.
Are most of your transactions then north of the cities?
Yeah, mostly north. I mean, all over. We have some all over, I guess. We just did one in Golden Valley, so yeah, I'm kind of all over.
So now you get to lean on your reputation and your network, right?
Yes, definitely.
A lot of people listening don't have a reputation or network.
Yeah.
They're trying to find deals. Any tips or starting points for folks who are listening?
I guess just get involved with groups of like-minded people and surround yourself with people with the same goals.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's about it.
Did you have any tactics back in the day for finding distressed real estate or like anything that used to work might not be relevant anymore. I'm just curious.
Yeah, back then I'd get all the newspapers every morning or get online every morning first thing looking for sale by owners and stuff that people are flexible on terms, motivated sellers.
Do you do a lot of creative finance offers
A
now?
lot of different ones, yeah, do now and always have.
So like, what's one of your favorite offers, right?
Oh boy, I don't know. I mean, I like to do a lot of land deals, first right refusal, so when they do go to sell it and make them a partner on the deal or development or project, I'd like to do a lot of those.
Okay.
A lot of old people don't want to deal with realtors or deal with fees, and so I do a lot of those. I know realtors hate me for that, but I got to do all. I guess some people like to do it the traditional way, and some like to act as a partner, like when it's a development or splitting something up. Something to make more money acting as a partner, I guess. Like a lot of deals like those.
So then you don't necessarily pay them for the land. You come in, they don't donate the land, they contribute the land.
Yeah.
You contribute the development portion.
Yeah.
Do you usually take them all the way to the end, or do you just like get them to entitlement? And
Always different. Always different. Everybody always has a different recommendation by whoever tells them do it this way, don't do it that way. So kind of always different.
Can you explain for people like the difference between like the different stages? Like there's raw land, and I don't know all the stages myself, but I know there's entitlement, and then there's full development and capabilities, and then there's actually building and selling. Like where can you kind of give?
Boy, I'm not real good with the terms. I got a real estate attorney that usually writes up all of our paperwork and does everything for us. So I'm kind of broad when I say everything my way and my terms. So until it comes down to the contract, and my attorney does it. So.
Okay.
What would be an example of like some plots of land that you're real keen on right now? Like what's a perfect deal for you?
Perfect deals when you can get a house that's got, you can split off like 3 lots off it and still sell the house for the same price, get 3 free lots, and then sell the lots to a builder or a homeowner or build something on it.
I would imagine there's a lot of like elderly folks out there that have a big lot, their house is paid off.
Yep.
You don't have to deal with the bank, and you can split it up, take some lots off their hand. Now they can live off the money.
Yep, a lot of them like to get money in stages. So as a lot sells, give them money. A lot of them don't want to get the money all at once, in capital gains, and just like the money long term, so they don't spend it. A lot of people don't know how to invest their money or spend their money, so they like to get it in sections.
I got a great lead for you over on Marshall and Victoria, St. Paul. I'll text it to you after this.
Yeah.
It's this client I've been working on for a little while, older couple. They've occupied this duplex since the 80s. I sell a lot of duplexes, so I've got VAs who reach out to people who have kind of failing rental listings, right?
Yep.
That's kind of a way we pick up leads. And yeah, he's got a double lot. Man, he would make a great, like I was saying, 4-family property over there. And them staying where they're at, but splitting and selling the lot, I think would benefit them the best. So
Yep, that would be a great one. I'd love to look at.
I'll hook you up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't need a finder's fee. That'll be a thank you for doing the pod.
Yeah.
Cool.
What else, man? Have there been anything else over the years other than the strategies that we're discussing now? Like if you're coaching someone, they want to get into real estate investing, what are some other strategies that you like or you like to recommend to people?
I guess, boy, there's so many different ways and things to do. I guess it kind of always depends on what I think someone's tools or what they have that they would be good at, or I kind of good at finding people's qualities or what would be best at and kind of go with that. I guess everything's different. Everyone's different.
Well, I know you do some coaching. How about this? You've got to have someone who's kind of doing well right now.
Yep.
Talk to us. I mean, without naming that person,
It's a good question.
what is that person good at? What did you see in them, and then what did you recommend to them?
I guess they just come to me and say, hey, I got cash. I got a lot of it. How can I make some money in real estate? And I'm like, perfect. And then I just find the deals, find some foreclosures or good deal on land and help them make the deal work. And I make some money, they make some money, and they're excited and want to do more and more deals. So.
Is it typically, is that usually a flipping strategy then, or something that's fast, or?
Yeah, a lot of fast, and depends on what their goal is. I have some people come to me, they want to do quick deals, fast deals, because they don't want to hold. And then I have the opposite, people that want to do rentals and right now it seems like most people just want to do quick deals because nobody knows what the economy is going to do long term. Most people I'm seeing.
Yeah, and holding costs are high, right?
Yeah,
So
holding costs are high. Yep.
that creates some problems with just cash flow
Yeah.
on a lot of deals.
Yep.
So you're not a real estate agent,
No.
but you're a coach.
Yes.
That's interesting. I haven't met too many people who do that. Can you tell us a little bit about that business and like how do you make your money?
I do a lot of people. I help them start their business from helping coach every step of it to, I prefer now, I mostly help people that have a good systems in place, that are able to make money, that have a good system going to help them to grow their business, scale, just mostly scaling businesses. A lot of it with digital marketing. I have a digital marketing company as well. And just helping people, example, a customer that's doing 800 grand a year, been doing it for 5 years, they can't break that threshold. I love coming in to help them to hit the 2 million, 3 million, 4 million mark and more. So that's my ideal client, is someone that doing $1 million a year that wants to do 10 million a year.
So not even all in real estate, other things too.
Yeah, like I like that more than I even like real estate, because that's what I'm best at, helping people scale their businesses.
And are they mostly in the construction field, these businesses?
Every kind of field. I mean,
Okay.
I just, as long as people have their systems in place, I have a network of people and connect the dots. I'm just good at connecting the dots and lining people up.
That's super cool. Can you provide any examples of like business types that you've had
I
success
have
with?
car dealerships I'm helping with.
Okay.
A lot of online shopping, e-commerce stores.
Okay.
A lot of those.
And the drop shipping.
Drop shipping, yep.
How is it? I think that's kind of interesting subtopic. Like,
Yeah.
how is it setting your kids up for drop shipping? Like, give us the playbook. I mean,
Um,
it's not like,
So kind of how it started is I've been trying to get them to do it. We were working on a mall in Wisconsin, doing demolition of a mall that after COVID, all the stores shut down. There was 27 stores in this mall, and I think probably 15 of them left all their stuff in there. So I had one toy store full of toys. I had a thing full of bikes. We donated the bikes to the police department. And we had all these action figures. They're about $27 a piece. And someone told my kids, let's sell them. We started drop shipping them. And kind of how it started is after COVID, had all this stuff.
That's it. Yeah, I watched a documentary the other night about like retail waste.
Yep.
It's nuts. The
It's
stuff people
crazy.
throw away. Have you heard about this? And then
No.
like even like Louis Vuitton and all those like fancy
I
ass
did.
stores, and then they cut them with razor blades
I did hear
before
about
they
that,
throw
yeah.
them in the dumpster.
Yeah, because they don't want people. Yeah, they want to keep their prices high so that
Yep.
it costs nothing to make a Louis Vuitton.
Right. Yeah, like we do all the Victoria's Secrets and Pink stores, and they leave tons of stuff there, and we sell them. And
No
so
kidding.
we do a ton in our salvage business with construction, because we get a lot of stores that leave everything, office equipment. So we do a lot of salvage, a lot of hotels. Like we had hotels in downtown Minneapolis, 20 stories full of everything you see in them, beds, furniture. So we donate a lot of them to companies like Teen Challenge and nonprofits and try to help as much as we can. And then we sell a lot too.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Are there any things you would have done differently looking back on the last 20 years with your progression to where you're at today?
Definitely, I would listen to the people that want to give you advice. I mean, I had countless mentors. I've always been the kind of person that if someone will teach me, I'm like a sponge. I'll follow them around until they're done teaching me and on to the next mentor. But I guess I would have listened a little more to a few of them and kind of slowed down. I was kind of thought I knew it all when you're younger, and the older you get, the more you realize you know less and less.
Yeah, I can hear that.
Completely.
And that's what I try to teach people. It's like when people say coaching's expensive, I'm like, no, failure and making mistakes is far more expensive than coaching. My small fee will make you money 10 times the first year.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a good coach when I started too. One of my business partners in my 20s said, I'm not even going to partner with you unless you have a business coach, the same coach. And I paid the $5,000 for the coach fee, and it was so worth it.
Cool.
That's all I can recommend to people, is learn from other people's mistakes, or their wisdom, instead of making all the same mistakes.
Would you agree with the sentence that like there's a lot of bullshit out there when it comes to people selling information?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's part of the reason why I never liked to speak or talk, but now I see so many people scams ripping people off.
Yeah.
Just makes me angry.
how does somebody know that, like, we're assuming you're a good guy, you know what
Yeah.
you're doing, you got a good reputation, you don't do something like this for 20 years in the Twin Cities ripping
Yeah.
people off. How does somebody know if somebody's full of shit or not?
I guess it's hard to know because I've seen people that they have friends and following that support them even though they are scammers. And being I'm in digital marketing, I'm really good at researching companies and I can tell you everything about them, the ins and the outs. And just like everyone, like Walmart, you're gonna have one mad customer screaming, and there's always someone bad talking, no matter what you're doing.
Of course.
But it's just hard to tell, I guess. Yeah. I have
Live
the
and
same
learn.
problem because you see some people and they're like, oh wow, yeah, that's a good deal and great, and then you start researching, like, oh, I guess it's not. So, yeah, it's hard to know, I guess.
Yeah, you gotta keep your spidey sense up, I suppose, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
We also live in an age where there's a lot of good free information, so
Yeah.
people can get so far,
Yeah.
I had a real estate coach, and admittedly, I should still have him. It was definitely worth the $600 a month or whatever I paid him. If I would have been following what he told me, I think easily would have paid for itself. And it was one of those deals where I had a couple slow months, and then what happens? You look at your balance sheet, you're like, what are we gonna cut?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was on the chopping block. Do you have a coach, Tim?
Not right now, but I've had a lot. Yeah.
You have a lot of experience. Yeah.
I spent
You gonna speak to that
easy-
at all?
Well, I spent an easy 6 figures over the years on different coaching and mentoring programs, and some of them are like the seminar style stuff, and some are true like monthly coaching.
Okay.
I've had a mortgage coach for my mortgage business, and investing both, multiple investment. Especially when I got into apartments, I worked with the Rod Khalife group for a while, and for my mortgage coaches, no one would know who he is, but a guy named Kai McBride out of California. I worked with him for a while. He did a lot of mindset coaching. Good stuff. Definitely was worth it. Definitely has helped me over the years.
Yep. Something I definitely try to do and tell everyone in my group is I always try to over deliver. So no matter what, they're getting value. Like you said, cut costs. Like they would never want to cut my costs because they know I'm bringing them way more than they're getting. So try to do that in every business I do is try to over deliver, and it seems to be the best way to go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what's your favorite area of to invest in? I mean, I'm thinking geographically now. We do have we're Twin Cities focused, so let's even say not outside of not Cambridge, but like somewhere in the cities. Tell me, like, what's your favorite area? You get a deal there, or you get something there. Maybe something that's like people don't know about. Do you have any hidden gems in the Twin Cities that you really
I just always like Minnetonka, like everyone else does. Once in a while, you find deals. Minnetonka to Corcoran, kind of the northwest suburbs, my favorite.
Okay.
Where you can find just an old beat up house in a really nice neighborhood and get the worst house in the neighborhood, and you're gonna get good comps no matter what.
Okay.
I'm working with some clients in Edina right now, and I think there is like a mentality that comes with being like a St. Paul guy, right? That's kind of like F that, you know what I mean? But like, no, man, it's so nice out there.
Yeah.
I looked at a couple of Ramblers the other day in like the mid 400s. Let's say 2,500 square feet, total grandma house, but big wooded lot.
Yep.
I'm sure plenty of comps in the 800s for something like that. I'm not suggesting there's a listing for 450 with that spread, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And it made me think, man, I kind of want a piece of those Western burbs, dude.
Yeah. Those are the ones I love, where you can just go in and give them a facelift, new flooring, paint, trim.
Yeah.
They got good bones, good structure, and make good money on them quick.
And I just always, you're thinking short term. I'm thinking this is gonna be something I give to my kids someday as an asset. And I just think that the quality of living out there is something to it.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
nice.
Yeah.
And that ain't going away.
All right. Well, I would say I think that this is a pretty good episode. Do you have any parting thoughts or?
No, it was great. It's my first podcast I've ever done, so glad to.
You're doing
won't
great,
be the
man.
last. So, yeah.
This is a Twin Cities real estate investing podcast.
Okay.
Well,
I don't know. I'm trying to squeeze one more thing out of you.
Well, let's do this. Let's run down. Because you do so much.
Yeah.
Let's run down. So people know what you have to offer. If they want to reach out, we'll put stuff in the show notes. But can you explain to us, your contracting arm? Let's start there. Tell us about your contracting arm. What do you guys? What's it called?
Trusted companies.
Okay.
So do contracting, commercial and residential contracting. Do our real estate company as well. We help people, first-time home buyers.
Okay. Is it a real estate brokerage or?
No. We're just.
That's the lease option company.
You're talking like investing.
Yeah, just investing and coaching and helping people, connect the dots.
And that one's also trusted companies.
Yep, and then we do have a nonprofit coaching. It's called Kingdom Coaching. Is our nonprofit that do a lot of mentoring and helping people as well as coaching with that company. And then Kingdom Construct is my dad's company, but I help him a lot with that, with his church and ministries and helping the homeless and church and.
So if people want to get involved in helping homeless at the grassroots level, that would be one way they could do it.
Yes, definitely.
So
always looking for donations of clothes, just time helping feed. We have a lot of food donation. Obviously, I always need more money donation, but helping the homeless.
So do you try to find? What do you try to do for them? Obviously, it sounds like food and clothing. Do you try to provide housing as well?
Yep.
That sounds complicated.
Right under the bridge off Lafayette and St. Paul, there's probably 400 to 600 tents down there, people in tents. Sundays, church right down there, right under the bridge, and they bring food and have church with them and try to, a lot of them help them get cell phones and helping them get back into homes and get jobs with people we know that are hiring, and our company as well. We give a lot of them jobs. So,
what would you say the percentages of folks in the homeless community here who are in like a transitional tough spot in life as compared to someone who's probably going to be living this way for a while almost by choice?
I see almost half of them, and half of them it's their life they choose, and half of them you can tell they just went through divorce or a death in their family that just made them go off the deep end. And I love to see them get back on track. I love, because that could easily be me or any one of us.
I have a friend who I went to high school with, 1991, right? And we were very close in high school. His 52nd birthday was last night. I was talking to him, and he's been sober now for the last 1 year, 11 months, and as of yesterday. And he was telling me, he said that he found that most people, his addiction was painkillers. And he said that most of the people he talked to, there was one event, and he mentioned death as a big one. Death, and they just didn't want to feel pain, and physical or mental, and they turned to some form of drugs. And so anyway, what you said there, kind of just exactly what he was saying last night. And he says he's never going back. He sees the light, so to speak, but it can throw. It's surprising to me that one death can throw someone that far off, but obviously it can.
Well, and I had a real estate mentor who was good friends with the old chief of police in St. Paul. I forget the guy's name, but his thing was what people don't realize. We think there's this separation between normal people and people who are in jail or homeless, and most people are just one bad decision away from being on the other side of that. It's not we're different.
You get mad and you beat someone with a bat, and you could be in jail for the rest of your life.
That's what I tell my kids. That's what I tell my kids. Most people in jail are there. They were drinking or drunk, and they wouldn't have been there making that bad choice if they're sober. And try to tell my kids the importance of not drinking and doing drugs, and it happened to anybody. No one expects it.
We can totally cut this if you want, but do you have any personal experience with sobriety or?
Yeah, obviously I drank when I was younger, but I had back problems, shoulder problems for years, and and had my dabble of painkillers from doctors, and got to the point where I'm I could see it can be a problem. And so this shoulder, I didn't do any painkillers. I won't do them ever again.
Good for you.
Yeah,
I'm
so-
scared of painkillers because
Yeah,
so in our last podcast at the end, someone asked if I had smoked or anything, and I did. I was so addicted to tobacco that I can't ever have it again. Because literally one cigar because someone had a baby, and I would be chewing and smoking at the same time. Like it'd be like chain smoking and chewing. You know, it'd just be crazy, right? And I know that, so I've got an addictive personality. So I literally have a fear of painkillers because I feel like I would get addicted really easy to them.
yeah, I'm the same way, very addictive personality, so I try to focus on making money and God and my family and not doing nothing else because I know I'd do it too extreme.
Well, I personally had struggles with this sort of thing when I was younger, and my life turning around and like finding real estate and finding entrepreneurship completely started when I chose to stop drinking.
Yeah.
Everything changed. And I didn't get it perfect at first, but I pretty much quit drinking in 2015. And then I officially haven't drank since 2018. I had like 3 years where it'd be like, oh, it's a Super Bowl, you know?
Yeah, yep.
And then a few too many Super Bowls, and you're like, I think this just isn't for me. But man, I mean, it's night and day. So
Yep. I had my share of it too, and I was 29 when I quit drinking.
Cool.
Yeah, my teen boys were younger. I'm like, just no time for it, and just seeing how I made bad decisions and took up so much time, and
Mm-hmm.
well, I think that's a good place to end it, man. We really appreciate you doing this, and I'm sure hopefully you'll get some traffic to your businesses
Yeah.
from this. And if there's anything Tim or I could ever do to
Yeah.
help, you know.
The ministries, I think it's kind of cool. I think it might be something we could do around the ministries at some point. You know, maybe get the real estate meetup or something to do an event with you. You know, it just feels like something that would.
That's a great
could be
idea.
A good,
yeah, it'd be awesome.
good way to.
Something to make you guys some cash.
And you know, a lot of people. So I think most people, like you had said, they think there's a separation between the homeless and them. Well, I think we also we don't get to see that side. Like I don't really understand the homeless life very much or anything else. A little bit because of my time down in Georgia, I hired some homeless people, but it's just like everything's so foreign that I think it'd be nice to connect the worlds for a day. You know.
Yeah. Awesome.
We'll make it happen.
All
All
right.
right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
bud.
you.
We'll leave this running, dude, because we didn't do an intro, did we?
No.
All right.
Uh,
That was awesome, man. Hey,
Yeah.
first
How you
podcast.
How
Did
you
it feel
doing?
okay?
it felt good. I'm like, a couple times, I'm like, oh, just like, didn't know what to say or said it wrong, but it's like, I'm sure everyone feels that way.
Oh, I
It
didn't.
didn't flow good.
I think all that stuff's in your
Yeah.
head because you sounded good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
fine, man. Totally fine.
Cool.
Thanks for coming. You know.
Yeah, I
I
was happy to.
appreciate it, especially since you didn't know us at all or anything
Yeah.
else. You know, it's.
I know first thing my team says, my people say, like, are you sure it's a good idea? Are they just going to throw you under the bus or do something for what you do? I'm like, no, it's fine.
No, I mean, like, again, I knew I didn't know it a lot, but
Yeah.
basically you looked interesting to me, and I was like,
Yeah.
that's all I really need to know. If you're
Yeah.
interesting, I want to talk, you know?
Yep, I'm all about anything anybody's doing that like-minded, I guess. Yeah, real estate. So,
Yeah.
cool.
Well, I think we should, let's keep in contact.
Yeah, do you guys want my
Yeah,
contacts?
we'll shoot you a text so you have our info.
Yeah. I think I got a coaching one too, so there's two of my regular ones. Let's see what I got from the coaching ones.
Consulting and marketing. Go ahead.
Oh, there's two of my coaching ones. Cool.
Sweet.
Cool, man. Thank you. We'll send this out now
yeah.
so you can. We would love it if you would promote it, right?
Yeah, well,
We
yeah,
would
if
do
you,
it.
yeah, if you can send me your guys' stuff, and do you guys have websites? You got a good marketing person, vision marketing, and the power of backlinking and linking, obviously.
We
Right?
don't have,
We don't know anything.
We
Oh,
literally
okay.
just started, building this, and then we kind of took the attitude that we were going to, take action and not worry
Sure.
about perfection. So
Yep.
we have a website.
That's how I am too.
I bought what do you call it, a theme from WordPress that was related to, podcasts. And
Sweet.
I thought it was gonna have more structure to it, but it's not a particularly great website at the
Sure.
moment. And so we need to build it up.
Yeah, if you need help, I can help you with that. Just don't give no one your money until, because so many people rip you off for websites. I got friends all the time like, oh, I paid $5,000 for this, or even $1,000. I'm like, that's too much. Like, I can literally build a website so cheap it would make you.
Really?
Oh
we should
yeah.
talk then, yeah.
But yeah, so it's like, But the most important thing is like, we're doing on ours like a partner page where we're linked as like partners, or like, kinda like you're doing the
Yeah, I know
podcast.
what you mean by that.
Works the same way, so it's like you get so much more web traffic.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm all about analytics and, well, can really help your websites, so we do wanna grow it. So yeah, you can send me that video and I'll put it on mine and I'll put your website on it, or whatever you want me to put on it, I'll put on it,
Sure.
whatever you don't, I won't.
Sure.
I'd be happy to promote you as much as I can.
Yeah, same.
Cool.
Thank you.
Sweet,
Appreciate it.
nice meeting you guys.
Appreciate you, man.
Thanks.
Sweet, see ya.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a risk. We can
All right.
shoot that.
Yeah, sounds good. I think